Hey guys, welcome back to Dual Sport YT. So I guess the main question is, why am I sitting in an empty garage? Well, we got a lot to talk about today. Hope you hang around to the end of the video. There's a lot of information on this video. We're going to answer a bunch of questions, show you some riding footage, and explain kind of where the channel's at and what we're doing. As you guys know, we bought the 300L Rally 2025 about a month ago, and we've been kind of breaking it in, getting it set up. We ordered a ton of parts because even though I think that's probably one of the better buys on the market, I think it has a lot of room to just increase the fun ability of the bike. The bike is perfectly fine probably for most riders, but it could use a little bit of the fun factor included into it. So we went out and we purchased a Yoshimura RS12 full stainless steel exhaust. This is our 550 Productions high performance stage 1 kit for the bike. We also purchased Renthal fat bars, risers, and I believe we went with the Chirby's hand guards, and we're going to put on some new pillow tops. In that process and in that first 500 miles, kind of realized that the tires on the bike are very limited as to off-road fun. Let's just put it that way. On-road, they're fantastic, but off-road fun, they do lack quite a bit. So we purchased, for the first set, we purchased a full set of D-Sport tires from Tusk. And they came in the other day, and I went to try to put them on, and I will tell you this, I haven't ridden on the tires yet, but those sidewalls are tough. That's maybe the stiffest tire I've seen on a motorcycle in a long time. And here's another thought. If you're thinking about getting a set of those, the tire itself is very heavy relative to the stock tires. So that's going to change probably some of your low-end torque, depending on how they grab. So I really didn't want to do it, but in an effort to get you guys better content, I went ahead and took it back to the dealership so they could put it on a machine, put new tubes in it, and get those tires on. And in the process of doing that, all of the other parts had come in for the new bars, for the risers, the handguards, and the pillow tops. So what I did is I didn't want to do that for this channel, but I went ahead and just told them to install all that. Now, of course, that happened on a beautiful 75-degree weekend, and the bike, I don't have it for a couple of days, so that's why the garage is empty. So we're going to have that back in a day or two, and that's going to be installed. Our next project is this setup, and we're going to do that here in the garage. But when 550 sent us this, the air filter system that they used, the high flow system, was back ordered by 2 weeks. So we're going to go ahead and put it on in the next day or two. We're going to film all that, show you how we do it. And if that filter is still scheduled out a good ways, we may just go get a K&N or something of that nature that'll work good with this system. So we do have a high performance air filter to test this with, because that's the most important part, is the money we've spent on this. Does it change the fun factor? Don't think it's going to change the top end speed. I don't think it's going to do anything like that. I think what it's going to do is maybe change where that power is distributed within the tachometer on the Honda 300L Rally, and maybe bring it back a little bit lower. So we'll have a little bit more lower end when we get on these trails, these single tracks and these dual tracks, to give us a little bit more fun ability. Now, if you've been watching the channel, the next big thing is I've been going back and forth on probably 5 or 6 different motorcycles, because when we started this channel was started to have 2 different bikes, new, that our viewers would probably be toying over whether they would buy. And we're just going to kind of pit them together and kind of do stuff together on them to show you the differences. Now, it really didn't matter what bike we bought. I don't know if there's like 2 that are kind of exact out there. So we did go a little bit different route, but we're going to show you the pluses and minuses of each one of those bikes. So we finally made a decision, and I know everybody out there is tired of hearing me talk about the decision. So yesterday we went and purchased a 2025 DRZ4S from Suzuki, and we did get the gray color. We had the option for the yellow. I've had yellow Suzukis a lot of times in my life, and I really like them. I just thought the gray was a little different, so we just went ahead and picked up the gray. Problem was, can't secure a cashier's check at 5 o'clock on Friday, and the motorcycle shops are closed on Monday. So we're going to have to wait to pick it up till Tuesday. Everything will be set up and we'll go get it. And we're going to film where we're picking it up, where we're buying it. We'll film getting the bike delivered to us there at the store. And then we're going to film the ride back, which will encompass our first ride on the DRZ4S. So we're now going to have, in the next day or two, we're going to have the upgraded, to a certain degree, Honda 300L Rally, minus these parts, which we're about to start as soon as it gets it back in the garage. And we're going to have the DRZ4 for you guys. And the DRZ4S obviously has a lot of interest on the internet. There's a lot of pluses and minuses to that bike, and I hadn't even touched it. I did sit on it, and I gathered a few things from just walking around it and looking at how Suzuki chose to build that bike. But I have not ridden it, and I won't be able to ride it till a couple days from now. So that's kind of where we are on the channel. And the next time you see our next video, you're going to see both of them bad boys put in here. I have to clean up the garage to get a little bit of space and to get us a working area. And we're going to get these parts put on the Honda, and we're going to see. We all know basically what the DRZ cost, and we basically all know, regardless where you live, what the Honda 300L Rally costs. The Honda is considerably cheaper, but by the time we do everything that we are doing to that bike, both of these are going to be relatively the same cost until we start doing stuff to the Suzuki. So we're trying to kind of see if that 300L Rally kind of boosted and upgraded, if it has the fun factor, if it has the rideability, and is it a good choice to do instead of just buying a stock DRZ4. So hopefully in the next day or two, now it's a beautiful sunny day here. We're going to have a little bit of cold weather, but thank goodness that cold weather is going to be here mostly before we get those bikes back. And when we get them back, then we'll be able to get you a lot of footage on those bikes. The Honda 300L Rally, the break-in period on it was about 300 miles, and that was painstaking for me to not be able to play on it for 300 miles, even though I try to follow the guidelines to a certain degree. It is my bike, but I try to follow the guidelines. I try not to get too far outside of it, at least until we get that first oil change. I will tell you, after the 300-mile mark, I was able to ride it a little more like it was intended to be rode. So at the first of the week, we're going to be able to see what that's like, changing up the stance of the bars, the thickness of the bars, putting some real handguards on there and getting rid of that plastic. And most importantly, which I think might be one of the biggest upgrades for that bike, is just changing the tires. So when you do get off-road, you have grip, you have confidence in how the bike performs, and I really think that's going to change the ride of the bike in itself, probably as much as anything else out there. So we've told you all about the DRZ4. She's coming. We've got us a new one. I do want to take just one more minute, and I want to kind of give you an overview real quick. Like, I will try to do a more full riding presentation for you, but my thoughts on the Honda CRF 300L Rally after 500 miles. So that bike, I believe, as long as you're tall enough to ride it, because it is about a 35-inch seat, I think that bike is good for everybody. That bike never really does anything that would take you out of your comfort level. It's not jerky like the 450 Honda. It's very passive. It has a lot of power for its weight, but that power doesn't come in till up in that 6 to probably 10,000 range. One of the reasons we have this set up, we're trying to lower that a little bit so we have a little bit more play down in the bottom end. Very comfortable bike to ride on the street, comfortable on the trails. With the stock tires, is if you're on anything that's hard packed, you'll probably really enjoy it. But if you get in anything soft, those tires, especially that front end, is going to wash out on you quick. And all tires will wash out on you in thinner, deeper, maybe sand or dust or whatever you want to call it if you get into a thicker part of it. But those are kind of scary at times how quick they wash out. So that was one of the reasons we wanted those tires on there. I don't want to do any more content off-road with those tires. Those tires were fantastic on the street. I just don't think they're made to really enjoy what the bike can do for you off the street. Overall, the bike doesn't do anything to surprise you. I believe the first 300 miles was very docile. I was very docile with it. I've taken it out and ridden it many times after the 300 miles. It's got almost 600 miles on it now. I believe that is a fantastic bike for probably, everybody up to pro level. It is so much fun to ride. And as one of our favorite YouTubers likes to say, it's very, very confidence inspiring. It really makes you feel like you're in total control of the bike. And it makes you feel like you can do a lot of different stuff on that bike. My personal opinion, I believe the bike is a little heavy in that 330 range wet. I would have loved to have seen that bike in the 280s. It would probably feel better on the track. If you're not used to dual sports, that will probably never come into play, that weight. But we really, in our quest to get a second bike, I really kind of set a guideline. And I'm like, I'm not buying, it's got to be under 400 pounds or we're not buying it. So that's why we chose the DRZ4. The remaining shows will not be a competition between the two, but we will be running them side by side and be filming and showing you the differences. Is that money that you have to spend to get a DRZ4, is it worth it? We've all been around Suzuki and the DRZ400 for eons, and we know it is a rock solid bike. The upgrades they did to the bike, the changes they did to the bike are fantastic. I am still not happy that it's not a 6-speed, but you can't get everything in life. So at least they did give us fuel injection on it. Back to the Honda, I think it's a fantastic bike. And if I had to give you just an overall, if you were standing there wanting to buy a bike, it is so comforting to ride that bike when it comes to just, you can get on it and you feel like you've been riding it forever. The seat's not as comfortable as I would like it to be, but hey, I don't do 100-mile rides. I do 7-8 miles to the trails and then I hit the trails. And I'm not as big on the seat on the trails. It doesn't bother me on the trails because I do a lot of standing up. I just think if you're out there and you're newer to dual sport, if you have a bike and you want a second bike, I really don't see how you can go wrong with the Honda, especially once we do these upgrades. And more than likely, we're going to take that bike and it will go through each step process. We're going to do a stage 1 first. We're going to film it. We're going to figure out how that functions. We're probably doing a stage 2, and then we'll do a 2.5 or a 3. And we're probably going to take that bike all the way up to the big bore. And we're going to see if it's worth putting all that money into the Honda. Now, I really appreciate everybody being on this channel, man. This channel is really small at the moment, but we're going to have some fantastic content for you. So make sure you hang around. If you're seeing this and you're not subscribed, please go out there and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Please share this video. The more people get on here, the better this community will be. And I've already been in talks with a couple of the big companies that sell riding gear and riding parts. I can't say any names yet, but we are going to have some giveaways through them, and some will be specific for the 2 bikes, and then some will probably be in the form of gift cards. So whatever bike you got, you can go there and get your own stuff. And I think that's really cool. I've said a whole lot in this video. Sorry to take up so much of your time, but I don't have a bike sitting in my shop and it's almost 80 degrees. So yeah, that's not good, but I'm going to suffer through this weekend for the good of the channel and for the good of everything going forward, because starting Tuesday, we should have Tuesday and or Wednesday, we should have both bikes back. We'll have the Suzuki on Tuesday. So that's going to give us a ton of content. So make sure, man, if you're out there, like and subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. And don't go anywhere, because we have a ton of stuff lined up for you guys that's really going to focus on these two bikes and everything dual sport. Thanks so much for watching, man. And until next time, hope to see you around the channel. Be safe, ride all you can, and be good to each other. Peace.